Hi, and welcome to Wrong Way. And today I'm going to show you 10 tricks, some more useful, some really just a show off, to learn on an electric unicycle. So let me tell you more about it. Roll the intro!
Wrong way.
EUCs are probably one of the most compact and practical devices to get around in a city, but they also are tons of fun. In this video, I'm gonna show you 10 tricks you might want to learn on your electric unicycle, starting from the most convenient and ones that will help you in your everyday riding, down to the most show-offy things and things you would just like to do in your spare time. So let's start with the first trick. Clearing curbs is a very essential part of riding an electric unicycle, and happily I think that the electric unicycle is the smallest available PEV that can do it. And since you encounter curbs probably every day when you're riding your EUC, let me tell you how to do it. Before clearing a curb, make sure that your speed is below 5 km an hour and bend your knees when approaching it. And when you're at this point, start to straighten your legs as you would like to jump on the wheel. In the slow-mo footage, you can actually see that the wheel goes up the curb by itself and your legs and knees cushion the impact and make it a bit softer. It's not really like a full jump, it's basically standing up on your toes to lift your heels just a slight bit off the foot plates. Some tips to this trick. Have your knees bent basically the whole time when you try clearing the curb. Be aware also that your pressure is at least higher than 25 psi, because as you see you can also damage your rim by a strong impact. The slower you go and the more you jump before the curb, the less of an impact it will have on your wheel, and therefore also a smaller chance of a bent rim. In this video I have 35 psi. When it comes to jumping, there are basically two methods to jump off the ground with the wheel. One is to just have a huge momentum and drop down, for example, a set of stairs or jump up a ramp. And the second is to have some sort of fly pads or power pads and jump with the wheel on a flat surface. As beautifully demonstrated by Łukasz here, first bend your knees and then make a motion like you would jump even without a wheel. Then you can see that his shoes or his feet actually touch the power pads and he lifts the wheel with himself off the ground. When it comes to the second method, there isn't really much to it as far as to grab the wheel tightly and try to have the wheel leveled flat so it doesn't spin out either forwards or backwards. But most of the time you are not long enough in the air to let it spin out of control. When it comes to jumps on ramps, usually speed is the answer for a bigger jump, and remember to cushion your impact by bending your knees. Easy Park and Go is a pretty small trick and it's pretty self-explanatory as well. So when you're upcoming to a wall or a bench where you can rest your EUC against, ride on one foot and close the other foot plate, rest your EUC against the bench, and then if you want to start, just put your foot on the open foot plate, start riding for a couple meters with one foot, get your other foot plate out, and let's go. If you don't know how to ride on one foot yet, the next step will help you. Also, I have nylonové foot plates on this wheel, which are really easy to open and close. If you have foot plates that don't go out that easily, just get some pedal openers. For example, like these ones that are available on Hulaj Market. Riding backwards is also a really useful skill to learn, And amazingly enough, electric unicycles are great at that. The biggest obstacle in riding backwards is that, well, everything you've learned before is backwards when you ride backwards. You can either start riding backwards just from a standstill, or you can ride forwards, brake, and then keep braking, and this will transform into riding backwards. It's essentially the same thing that would happen if you would hold the brake key in a racing game. My first steps, or in that case rolls, were riding backwards in just one direction, turning in one direction. It's easier at first to just make circles instead of riding straight backwards and needing to adjust both left and right at the same time. And contrary to riding forwards, you need to put the weight on your heels to accelerate, and your body will be leaning backwards, which is really counterintuitive. And therefore you then go on your toes to brake and lean forwards to brake. Really weird. At first, it will be easier to ride backwards without looking back, as even the motion of turning your head and just readjusting your heads might throw you off balance. So start first to do circles in one direction, then try in the other, then try to connect them maybe by doing figure eights, and after a while you can start looking back and getting the right balance with your head turned backwards. Going downstairs is sometimes just for fun, and sometimes it is necessary. And in my opinion, it's a really useful skill to learn. Although this might seem dangerous and difficult at the first glance, it's actually not. It's essentially like riding down a slope. But there are a few precautions or things you need to know to make this experience as smooth as possible. First thing to know is that speed really helps. And it's scary at first, but the faster you go, the smoother the experience gets. And especially with long stairs, it's important to go faster than slower. As you can see here, at the first attempt I was going too slow down this huge set of stairs, and the second time around I was faster, which was much easier. It's important not to brake when going down, just keep on rolling. And from a technical standpoint, once again, it's important to keep your pressure a bit higher maybe than usual in order to prevent rim damage. And the bigger of a wheel diameter you have, the easier it will be to go downstairs. So stairs on a monster, really easy. You might also encounter some pedal dipping when going downstairs, so remember to hold on to the wheel tightly and go downstairs on bent knees. Interestingly enough, you can also ride upstairs on an electric unicycle, but I've made already a separate video about that. Riding on one leg is definitely not as practical, but it definitely strengthens your skill, and sometimes in really tight spaces, it does actually help you out. The simplest way to train that is to just start riding on your UC on one foot and just wait a bit before you put the other one on. There will be a lot of pressure on your shin, that is on the electric unicycle, and try to also lean your body in one or the other direction to see how the balance affects your riding. After a while, you will learn to swing your leg in whatever direction you would want, and naturally, the leg that is on the electric unicycle when you start riding will be the stronger one for riding on one leg. The wrong spin is something I came up with basically when waiting at a traffic light, and it's just something to fiddle around with your EUC and something that looks pretty cool. To perform it, just stand on your toes on one foot plate and then pull the unicycle so it turns, and after that point you will try to tip over, and that's the moment when you push with your shin and a bit with your toes as well to get it back up straight. After that, you just grab it with your calves. Spins on an electric unicycle with you spinning as well, I just call them Spinaroos. And you can make them in several ways. You can just do them with your body without your feet touching the ground, or you can go a bit faster, then touch your feet to the ground and spin. You can do 180, 360, 540, basically what your soul desires. With enough speed, anything is possible. To perform a Spinaroo, I love the name, you have to come pretty much to a complete stop on the EUC and then turn your body with the electric unicycle. Basically, first the body, your upper body, does the spin along with the help of your hands, and then your hips twist the electric unicycle as well. If you do it by putting your foot against the ground, it's a bit easier to start spinning. You can also grab a pole, preferably not me. This is a bit of an easier method to start spinning. You definitely need less momentum to do a 180, just turn and then right backwards. If you want to do a 360, use a bit more force and try leaning back when you start turning. Then the unicycle will basically do all the work for you. Start accelerating once you feel you're going forwards again. The 180 Shuvit, and especially the 180 body varial, are tricks that require a bit of practice. Let's start with the Shuvit, as it is a bit easier among these two. So to perform it, you need to jump on the wheel and at the same time pull with your left foot and press with your right foot so the wheel spins. For me, the easier Shuvit is to make it the left way round, but for you probably it's the right way round, not the wrong way, because my left foot is the dominant foot when riding EUC. You can see that my right foot is actually a bit to the back side of the foot plate and my left foot is actually a bit to the front side. This helps with performing this trick. If you want to make this move the right way round, just mirror it. Out of 50 attempts this day to do the 180 varial, I just had one successful one, which tells you how hard this trick is. Basically, to perform it, you need to lean your dominant foot a bit against the EUC so it keeps on riding straight when you jump, and then you need to quickly jump when riding about maybe 3 kilometers an hour and rotate your whole body and not hit the EUC at the same time. It's a lot of movements and it takes time to just get it in naturally, and I don't really know like what is the specific stuff to do. You just need to try it all over again and get the feel for it. Walk the dog and the Davastato are probably my favorite tricks to do at the moment. Walk the dog you probably know from tricks on a yo-yo or mountain biking, And I called the other one the Davastato because the Italian YouTuber Davastato, who also rides a monowheel or electric unicycle, just did it first. At least I saw it first there, so we might as well call it the Davastato. And once again, these tricks look harder than they actually are. In order to do walk the dog, just jump off the unicycle and try to push it forwards a bit when you jump off of it. And the faster you go, the easier it actually will be to run behind the electric unicycle, and the electric unicycle will also stay level. Then you need to just jump on the unicycle with your dominant foot first.
Cut this shit.
The Davastato relies on a similar principle, but you need to jump off the electric unicycle with a slightly tilted unicycle to one or the other side. Note that some wheels might have one side or the other heavier, and that is where the unicycle usually will make a turn. Then you need to jump on the unicycle and try to jump a bit to the back as well to make the transition into riding backwards a bit easier. Note that sometimes it might start turning one way and then the other, and then you need to catch up to the unicycle.
Tak, łap. Mocno tnij, dawaj, mocno tnij. Mocno.